This is Ken Pyle with VOD TV. We're at Parks Associates Connections Conference at CTIA. We're with Dave Davies of Cisco. You're going to be on a panel talking about how service providers can monetize what the topic has been, this connected home. So why don't you give us a little insight into that, and we'll have a conversation.
Well, it's an exciting time as operators are trying to figure out how they expand their businesses beyond the traditional video, data, and voice kinds of services and grow ARPU in the home. You have companies like AT&T that have launched their Digital Life platform, creating opportunities to extend into new kinds of vertical services. AT&T targeting home security as an example, which is a significant industry, $16 billion industry, highly fragmented. And the opportunities and what makes this really interesting to service providers are the ability to now extend and offer new kinds of services and monetize those services in a new way as really just extensions on platforms they already have and technology solutions that they already have today.
From a culture standpoint, are you seeing that as a challenge for the operators, forgetting the technology and everything, but you're in a whole new business now, right?
Culturally, I'm not sure it's as much of a challenge. I think the opportunity for them, if you look at how the industry's evolved, how their technology platforms are evolving, they've started, many of them, in the video segment, the traditional cable operators, extended into data and voice kinds of services. Devices that used to be called modems are now gateways, and processing power, which used to be minuscule not too long ago. Now there's a tremendous amount of capability to offer more and deliver more services. And so the marginal investment in order to deliver these kinds of services is very small. So it's really about how do you organize your infrastructure, your technology solutions in order to deliver the kinds of services that they're talking about. I don't think that culturally is an issue, but I think there are some technology challenges that need to be worked through.
What are some of those challenges?
Well, as you think about starting with a single point solution like home security, you're going to put in the entire infrastructure from the client software, the devices, the peripherals, up through the gateway, all the way through the back-end infrastructure, including the back office hooks. But where it really gets interesting is as you start to extend the technology and service opportunities into other verticals, because the opportunity there is for service providers, whether it's an AT&T or whether it's a Comcast or others, to start offering a whole portfolio of application solutions where you're starting to leverage data and information and leverage policies across a broad set of devices and services. And that requires a level of intelligence back in the network, in the cloud, if you will, to be able to take advantage of that and the right kind of user experience and interfaces in the home for users to be able to I'll call it, program their own digital lives, if you will.
I suppose one advantage they have maybe, and kind of gets back to that culture thing in a sense, these are new businesses for them, so it's not like silos have developed in these new businesses, so they can kind of start fresh, right, and make sure these things have an interplay between them, whether it's home security and...
Well, the opportunity is for them to really define a new set of businesses, right? If you take something like home security, I think people, if you asked an average person on the street what they thought of home security, they'd give you a very traditional view of what that meant, right? Doors open, buzzers go off, but very basic. The way that service providers today are defining that as they move to IP and a set of connected peripherals in the home that really define the new kind of home security solution is adding things like video, adding the dimensions of personalization, and it's a new kind of service offering that really defines a whole new kind of security solution. And so what's exciting for a service provider, whether it's AT&T or others, is you're defining a new segment and you're introducing new customers into an exciting new area which they can then monetize.
Well, and most of the monetization we've seen to date has been kind of a traditional, I don't want to say traditional, but it's some sort of subscription service. It seems, maybe there's some upfront cost in the subscription service. Are you seeing any other kinds of models, whether, there might be some ad-supported type stuff in there, or maybe some freemium model like you have in a lot of internet type stuff? Or?
For the kinds of services we're talking about, I think they'll start being primarily subscription. I think there's an opportunity to extend over time. One of the more interesting ways that I think the model will extend is, instead of a traditional B2C model, business to consumer model, I think there's an opportunity for a B2B2C, business to consumer, as the service providers develop relationships with third parties, whether it's utility companies for energy management, whether it's HMOs or healthcare providers to offer managed solutions for e-health opportunities in the home. There's an opportunity for them to monetize those services in a way that is in some ways independent from the consumer. The consumer could see the benefit as a reduced amount on their bill if they sign up for a utility or energy monitoring service, which gets subsidized by an energy utility, or an insurance company could provide a payment to a service provider if a customer adds a moisture sensor in the basement, for example.
It almost sounds like, in a sense, it's analogous to maybe what you have with the Play Store, if you will, or the iTunes Store, where the broadband pipe and the ability to do things with the pipe becomes kind of their store to get to the customers and have these partners. Maybe it's almost like a broadband ecosystem of some sort.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of thinking about it, and certainly the way it's going to start. I think the operators will selectively choose the applications and services, and at least to start with, offer them in a very managed kind of way, right? They're going to want to evolve the services, ensure that they're robust, consistent with the reputation, the brands, something that they can manage and support. One of the advantages they have is they have infrastructure that can roll trucks and call centers that can answer questions, but the ability to operationalize this, right, starting small and then eventually building into a much bigger portfolio of solutions is, I think, an opportunity for them.
Well, we were having this conversation earlier with Brett Sappington of Parks, and the whole idea of the cloud, the personal cloud, and how much of that is really about trust. And it seems, that the consumers trust whoever they're dealing with, and it seems like there's opportunities there. But to your point about, getting the right partners, it's very important you don't breach the trust, right?
Well, absolutely. There's a lot at stake if you're a service provider in terms of the amount of revenue per month. For an AT&T going into home security, right, ensuring that it's a very robust, reliable home security solution is critical to the experience. But as you start adding services, by example, you add video, right, the ability to remotely unlock your doors. You want, as a consumer, to have a company there that you trust, right? You don't want, pictures of your family room readily available to third parties, but having somebody like AT&T, a company that you trust, right, be able to manage that, right, is something that's a lot more palatable to consumers. I
can imagine you'd have to opt out or something so your pictures don't show up, right? It's that kind of thing that you don't want to see as a consumer, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's still a lot of opportunity, I guess, for the service providers, a lot of unknowns. Is that how you'd assess it? Or?
Well, we're very early into what we'd call transition to the digital life or connected life. I think the initial entrances are going to be in services like you're seeing today in home security. I think you're going to see extensions into the energy management and the e-health kinds of applications, both very large opportunities for service providers to monetize. Where I do think it gets interesting is as you start to have this explosion of connected devices, because the economics today make it very cheap for a device to add a low power connected sensor, right? And you start having, and some of the projections I've seen suggest as many as a trillion connected devices by 2025. Wow. So you get to an environment where you have devices that are gathering data, transmitting data, the ability for intelligent tools to analyze that data, to be able to, against a set of user-defined policies, make decisions, and you have an ability for an ecosystem of machines, if you will, to interact, to enable and enrich people's lives, right, through improved efficiency and improved automation.
Wow, it sounds like an incredible future. So, Dave, I appreciate the chance to catch up with you and look forward to further conversations.
Thank you.